Ben wants a European hot hatch, and I think I found the best. Not just European, but the greatest hot hatch ever made. It was tough between this and the MG Metro Turbo, but I think this just pips it. The Lancia Delta Integrale Evo 2. Ben did say he'd be here before me, so he should be around here somewhere.
Mike!
Have you ever driven one of these before?
I have never.
Pretty damn special. You're really going to enjoy this. But I've got some jobs to do in the M5 today, so sadly I can't be with you. But I'm just going to give you the keys.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy.
Thank you. Amazing. This is a very, very naughty car. It wants to go very fast. I can't remember driving a car with this much poise and poke. And it's so, I mean, you're putting the speed on, but this car never feels like it's going fast. You've got to be really careful with what you're doing on the throttle. It's like a time warp. You accelerate, but it feels so controlled. You don't sense the attainment of speed. It's so user-friendly. It's just incredibly comfortable. Every single part of the ergonomics, the driving position, which you can't adjust up and down, but you can slide backwards and forwards on these Recaro seats. It's very comfortable. And as it was with the hot hatches of that era, you sit with your knees around the wheel. Not much you can do with this. That is the driving position, whether you like it or you lump it. But it feels fantastic. The Momo wheel, solid in your hands. Everything in the cabin, solid. It's been kept immaculately, this car. It's got 38,000 miles on it. Everything on it's original, bar the Bilstein dampers. Not a big change there though, really. Really all that's done is probably restore it to where it was originally back in the day. They do get tired after a while, they lose their pressure. So you get that quite rigid ride on these country roads, you can feel it, but it's holding its position. It's not shaking my teeth out, but it is stiff. But the first thing you're noticing is this power. It's just effortless power, despite the fact that it's turbocharged. There's no lag at all. So that was the big difference between the Evo 2 and the Evo 1. It was given a new Garrett turbocharger for the 2-litre 16-valve engine. The primary reason for it was to give it a little bit more power, upped it from 210 to 215, which is why it's the more popular of the two and the rarer of the two, because this is fewer numbers than the Evo 1 that were made back in the day. The gearing is just right. Sometimes you get in an older car or in your modern one and one of the gears is too long or too short and annoying. Not here, it's absolutely spot on. And the cabin, looking at the dash, it is very Spartan. It's sort of almost like Atari, but it's extremely elegant. It's beautifully laid out, and it's a weird comparison to make, but it reminds me slightly of the McLaren F1, which had that similar kind of military grade feel to what here is very simple layout to tell you boost pressure, RPM and speed. But very pretty, but you try not to look at that too much because you tend to be very focused on what's happening in front.
I'm busy doing stuff with the Beamer today, so I hope Ben is enjoying the Integrale. I'm sure he will be, and that's why I'm constantly looking for Evo 1 and Evo 2s that are a bit shabby for Ben to buy and do up himself. And today's video sponsor, Car Vertical, is the perfect tool for checking the history of the cars that Ben is looking at. Car Vertical compiles data from all over the world and puts it into a nice, neat report so that you can find out whether a car has ever been in an accident, been stolen, has outstanding finance, or has anything dodgy going on with its mileage. Here is an example of a modern equivalent to the Integrale, a true homologation special, the Toyota GR Yaris. Looking at this car's report, we've got green ticks on mileage, theft and finance, which is all good, but there is an amber warning in the accident department. If you then go to the damage section, you can see that the car was written off sometime last year, and you can then scroll to the photos section where you can see there was pretty severe front end damage with these pictures taken when it went up for auction. That's a sore one. Car Vertical is a great tool for making sure you don't buy a dud of a car. So if you're in the second-hand car market like Ben is now, use our exclusive link in the description below to get 10% off when you use Car Vertical. By clicking the link below, you'll also help support the channel making videos like this. So click the link and make sure you don't come a cropper when you next buy a second-hand car.
The Lancia Delta was originally conceived in the 70s as a response to the huge success of the VW Golf, which was really selling well. Lancia saw that as an opportunity to get into the market, start selling these rapid hatchbacks. And to prove the performance, like all good manufacturers back in the 70s, Lancia took the Delta rallying. They proved to be a dominant force, and by 1987 they'd won 8 out of 11 World Championship rounds, really upsetting the apple cart for Audi. One of the regulations for competing in the WRC back in the day was that you had to produce a limited number of homologated road-going versions of what you were rallying. They were basically endowed with all of that rally technology, but it was something you could drive on the road, and as a practical tool, you could actually drive it every single day. And it was like Bruce Banner had been given the kick in the nuts he really needed to burst out of his shirt and become the Incredible Hulk, because the Lancia Delta became the Lancia Delta Integrale Evolution 1 followed by 2. Which is what I'm sitting in. A very, very special car. The bulging bonnet was necessitated by the longer suspension and higher mounting points that you needed for rallying to absorb those big bumps when you were flying off-road. And to shore up the stiffness, they added a big front roll bar. So the overall effect is a very aggressive looking grille and fantastic handling. For me though, the really special thing about this car is the way that it delivers the power to the road. The four-wheel drive system is not like the sort of thing you're used to in the modern day, where four-wheel drive really means front-wheel drive with a token gesture to the rear axle. Now with this Lancia, it's the other way around. 53% of the drive goes through the rear axle, 47% through the front. But it doesn't just stop there, because the rear differential, try to stay awake now, is also where it gets very technical. It's got a torque vectoring diff, or torque sharing diff anyway, that works intelligently to choose how much power to put on each individual wheel, so you can't get... I can't think of a car that's got more poise than this, new or old era. It's just so planted. It's crazy. You really can feel the rally technology that has filtered through into this thing. It's like sort of flying in an old Harrier jump jet. It's just got so much capability built into a small package. Very addictive to drive. The only problem with this car is the price. £80,000. That's just too much for me. So if anyone's out there with a slightly ratty Evo 1 or Evo 2, I don't care, ratty, is that the right word to use about something like this? I don't know. But run down, lower price point, please DM me at Ben Collins Stig on Instagram. Get in touch, show me your car. Love to talk about it, because yeah, I'm bitten by the bug. I want one of these bad. But it's got to be the right price. So DM me happy.